2025 season preview for the West Coast Eagles is coming your way. Sit back and enjoy. Welcome on in, everybody, to the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another 2025 season preview coming your way today, and it's the West Coast Eagles. Going to be the highlight of this video. We're going to be looking at their previous seasons. We're going to be looking at their depth chart, their best 22 according to me, and what we can expect from the West Coast Eagles in 2025. They have an interesting year ahead of them. So we're going to be jumping into that as we have been with every club, working away alphabetically. So this is number 17 out of 18. The rest are already up on the channel, and the Bulldogs will be the final one, which will be coming out tomorrow. So come back, check that out. Go back and watch all the other videos to get all your information about every team. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into it while we load her up. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. We have podcasts that go live every week. We have a ton of analysis videos, so go check them all out. And here it is, West Coast Eagles. Last year, they finished 16th on the ladder. 5 wins, 18 losses. Not a great record, but from where they were, what they were expected to do, it's not too bad. It was certainly a year of growth. We'll look at that in a minute. But, overall, not terrible. They showed some good signs. Interestingly enough, at least a couple times, they won back-to-back games. So when they were looking good, they were looking quite good and positive signs. But then there was obviously the bad. But you kind of expect that with what they have. It's going to be interesting when we get to the depth chart to look at how they plug some holes, but they're looking like a team that is on the rise. Will that continue? We'll soon find out, I guess. But this has been their last 5 years. So 2020, pretty solid year. They finished 5th on the ladder, 12 wins, 5 losses. Lost an elimination final to Collingwood over in the West at home. So disappointing finish to their year, losing in an elimination final. Followed that up, just missing finals, 10 and 12, sitting 9th on the ladder in 2021. And then it all kind of fell apart. It fell apart midway through 2021, really. Or maybe even early season. They were a team that got really struck down by injuries and COVID and whatnot. And then 2022 hit, and they were absolutely smacked by injuries. And they finished 17th on the ladder with just 2 wins. Then in 2023, they finished bottom of the ladder, wooden spooners. 3 wins and 20 losses. And then 2024, as we just mentioned, they finished 16th on the ladder, so slightly better than the previous 2 years. But the 5 wins, 18 losses is certainly an improvement on the previous couple of years. So you look at it, 2 wins 2022, 3 wins 2023, 5 wins 2024. They need that to keep going up. There's no doubt about it. Anything under 5 would be a big disappointment for them. I mean, obviously, if injuries destroy them or something like that, then yeah, they can have an excuse. But at the same time, they don't want to be getting less than 5 wins this year. 6 or above would be a solid effort. Anywhere getting close to 10 would be an absolutely great achievement for them and put them in a good spot going forward. So just the one finals appearance in the last 5 seasons, and that was right at the start in 2020. That's about all we have on the previous seasons. We'll now jump into our 2025 season preview for players. Sorry if there's a lot of background noise. Apparently, we've got a helicopter landing in my backyard. We look at the depth chart is where we're at. Starting key defenders as we always do. Just a little note on how these colours and rankings work. So every player last year I ranked from 1 down to whatever there is, 600 and something players by position. So key defenders also got their individual ranking order. and then I put it all in together. So these rankings are their position rankings from 2024 as adjudged by me. If they were in the top 10% of their position, they are blue and considered elite. Top 50% are green and above average. Yellow is average and below, which is the bottom 50% of each position. Red are players that have not played AFL football before, and orange are players that have played AFL football before but did not play a game in 2024. So let's jump into the key defenders to start with. Obviously, McGovern, he's the big one down there. He's an All-Australian key defender. He's, there's not much more to say about him, really. He's an elite defender. There's no two ways about it. After him, though, that's where this kind of gets a little interesting for the West Coast Eagles, because obviously Barras has left. He's gone to Hawthorn, so it kind of leaves a little bit of a hole. There is that second key defender, who is their second best key defender. And that spot's going to be up for grabs for the whole season. Second and third key defenders, really. You don't always have to play three key defenders, but it probably helps if you do. So I guess that's kind of where they're at, is who's going to be that second and third tall down there. So I had Harry Edwards 54th last year, Callum Jameson 64, Reet Bazzo 76. In all honesty, probably goes in that order. Looking at it to start this season, I'm not 100% convinced, but that's probably their most concerning issue when you look across their ground, is that key defender stocks. That I just don't know if the others are there, but I mean, we'll learn a lot about them in 2025, I think. Jeremy McGovern's going to have his work cut out for him, though, that's for sure. Moving into the general defenders, and just a little note on the general defenders, Liam Baker has joined them from Richmond. That rating it was as a general forward last year, so 13th best general forward he was last year. He's going to be playing pretty much exclusively halfback flanker. I'm pretty confident on that. So, just worth noting that elite ranking was as a general forward, but I don't think there's any reason why he can't be that as a general defender as well. He's going to be their main ball-using running half-back line player, so he's still going to get plenty of touches. He's going to be very important to this team. Liam Duggan, he was really good last year. I mean, he's a really good player, full stop. Had a solid year. Tom Cole showed some ability to be in that above-average phase, so not a bad season from him. They're going to need at least one or two other general defenders, in all honesty. You're going to probably want at least 3 key defenders and probably 4 general defenders, so they're going to need Hunt, Howe, or Johnston to step up as well, probably. Hunt and Howe are the most likely to. Both certainly capable. Once again, though, their backline stocks aren't great there, and that suggests that they need maybe some other players to rotate back from their general forward line or even their midfield. We'll see how that plays out, where they see themselves going with that. Early season, we'll get a pretty good indication. Key forwards, obviously, Jake Waterman, huge season last year. I had him as the 4th best key forward. His numbers don't lie for that. His early season was great. From like rounds 2 to round 6, he was outstanding. He was good all year, don't get me wrong, but those 4 or 5 week stretch was really, really good. He just had a great year. He's a leading forward on the most occasions. That's how he does his best work, is on the lead. So if he keeps getting some good delivery, he will certainly make a lot of defenders pay this year. So he's going to be their key one up there. Oscar Allen has shown some good signs. He was ranked 26th in my key forwards last year. If West Coast are to take another step here, he probably needs to get inside the top 20 as a key forward. I definitely believe he is capable of that. Whether we see that or not, is maybe another story, but there's high hopes for him. He's obviously very talented, and I would expect to see some improvement from him in 2025. Jack Williams is their third tall, I guess, up there. He's a backup, I think. I don't think they play the three talls, but I could be completely wrong. Wouldn't be the first, won't be the last. Interestingly enough, when we get to my best team, I did name three tall forwards, so that's interesting. Anyway, moving right along. General forwards, we've got quite a long list. To put it simply, Jamie Cripps, ranked 23 last year, had a good year. Potentially could have been a bit better if he had kicked a little bit straighter, but overall it wasn't. It was a very handy year. Liam Ryan showed some really good signs that he's still up there as an elite general forward. I was quite impressed with some of the work. If he can get a full season, we'll see him ranked up there quite highly again. Uys has come across from Carlton. This was the big one that kind of came out of the blue a little bit. They gave up a really early draft pick in order to get him. That was just like part of the bargaining, I guess. But great year. Great career, really, with Carlton. He's a small forward that gets under the skin of opposition. He'll be straight into this team, so he'll definitely add something in this forward line. Hutchinson was solid enough last year. Petroselli has shown some good signs, and I would expect will improve up that list. Tyler Brockman, all of these next bunch, Brockman, Marich, Dewar, Long and Rawlinson, we haven't seen a huge amount of, and I think we will see them all potentially improve. I mean, they won't all improve, let's be honest, but some of them, any of them, could jump out of the ground. I would expect we'll see quite a bit of Brockman and Marich, and probably even quite a bit of the others as well, as they try and find their best options in that forward line and around the rest of the ground. Next up, we jump to the midfielders. Obviously, pretty good list of players here. Elliot Yeo, outstanding. At his best, is one of the best midfielders in the competition. His start to the season last year was outstanding. Maybe didn't carry it all the way through the season, but still, really good year from him. Tim Kelly, maybe not his best season last year, which suggests if he can get back to his best and enjoying his football again, could really rise on that list. That's what West Coast probably need here. Harley Reid, I mean, there's not much more to say about this guy. The hype about him last year, I think, is all warranted. He's a great player. He's an exciting player to watch. He'll give you a lot of highlight plays. He will fend off 5 people, run 50 metres, take 3 bounces and kick a goal. He's an absolute weapon, and I think we'll see another great season from him. Hopefully even better than last year. He did miss a few games, but still, ranked 54th in his debut year was really good. Ginby, another one that's shown a lot of signs. Another young midfielder. I think we see him step up again as well. So I can see all 4 of them being top 40 midfielders in the competition this year. Jack Graham, 95th best. He probably wants a slight improvement, and is capable. Campbell Chesser is mainly a wingman. Does play inside mid sometimes, but half or flank wing sort of role. They might need a little bit from him here. Dom Sheed is not going to be playing this year. He's done his ACL in the pre-season, so put a line through him. Clay Hall, maybe we'll see a little bit more of him this year. I'm not convinced yet. We'll see what we get from him. Bo Allen was their highly touted midfield pickup from the draft. We'll definitely see him at points throughout this season. Gross and Garrigo, potential chances to play at some point. And Elijah Hewitt has played 4 games of AFL before, but yeah, if he's not getting games this year, that's probably the end for him. But I would imagine we will see him at times this year. And then their ruck line. This is probably the most confusing part of their lineup, in all honesty. So Bailey Williams ranked 19 last year, Matt Flynn 29, and Barnett 40, and then Livingston hasn't played. Williams was their go-to number one ruckman last year throughout most of the year. I personally, from an outsider's perspective looking in, would probably think that Matt Flynn should be their number one ruckman. But that's not how it's been so far. But I just get this feeling that Matt Flynn is going to be given the first chance at that number one spot this year. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't think any of them are outstanding. I think Bailey Williams at 19 is about as good as he's going to get. Like, you think about it, there's 18 teams in the competition. You should have a ruckman in the top 18. So they need to get improvement. I think Matt Flynn's the most likely to be a top 15 ruckman on this list. But I think he gets first go. Bailey Williams will be the backup. And Harry Barnett, potential to get at least a few games in this year. And maybe, if he shows enough, might get more than a few games. We'll jump into the best 22 as judged by me. This could be horrible. Let me know in the comments. I've been copying it about some of the teams I've selected, but I think this is, to be honest, it's a hard one. It really is. But we'll start with the back line. Tom Cole, Jeremy McGovern, Liam Duggan. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. They were basically their best three defenders from last year that have stayed on their list. Obviously, Barras has left. Their half-back line, Liam Baker, Harry Edwards and Jaden Hunt. I've got Harry Edwards as their second best key defender at the moment. Whether it stays that way, Jamison and Bazzo will definitely get opportunities, I think. Maybe even into their best 22. Jaden Hunt, really good year. Well, not a really good year, but a solid enough year to make their best 22 here. Liam Baker is obviously a walk-up starter to this team. They've spent up big to get him, and he's going to be very important for their back line. Then their midfield line, we got Jack Graham, who was the latest one to move into the on-field role. I had Dom Sheed there originally. Tim Kelly, Campbell Chesser, half-forward line of Jamie Cripps, Jack Williams and Liam Ryan. Full-forward line of Matthew Uys, Jake Waterman and Oscar Allen. So a pretty tall lineup with Williams, Waterman and Allen. Their ruck, I went with Matt Flynn to start as their best 22 ruckman. Whether I'm convinced on that after round one, we'll see. But that's where I've got him at the moment. Elliot Yeo and Harley Reid. Pretty self-explanatory. Interchange, Ginby, Bo Allen in his first year. I mean, I don't know if he is in their best 22 yet, but he certainly will get the opportunity to prove himself. Brady Howe and Jack Petroselli. And then emergencies, Bailey Williams as their backup ruck. Brockman, Marich, Jamison, as I said, Dewar and Noah Long. Make of it what you will. It's not the greatest lineup of all time. Like, if you go back to my previous rankings, they have 15 players ranked at above average or better in my rankings from last year. Obviously, most teams aren't going to have 22 players, but the more, usually the better. It's not the worst or the lowest amount. I think Richmond quite convincingly took that with just 10. But some of the teams are well over that, like Sydney 20. I think Brisbane were 22. Geelong had quite a lot as well, 20-something. Most teams are about the 17, 18, so 15's just off. Not massively off the other teams, but still certainly room for improvement. I can see a few of these average players stepping up into the above average category if they can do what we kind of expect them to. the final thing we're going to have a look at here is a little snippet of their 2025 season, and then we'll give a little prediction on what we expect to see. They're starting the season with a round 1 game against Gold Coast. That will be at Optus Stadium, so home game for them. And an important game. Gold Coast travelled really poorly last year. If I'm remembering correctly, they did play them over there last year and won it, but I could be completely wrong. So, massive start to their year. Gold Coast, there's high hopes for this year. So, it's not going to be an easy game, don't get me wrong, but we'll see. We'll learn a lot about Gold Coast in that one. I don't know if we'll learn as much about West Coast. Their buys, obviously, opening round. They don't start until round 1. And then also got round 15 bye. Gather round is in round 5 this year. They'll be playing Carlton at the Adelaide Oval. That won't be an easy one. Last year's gather round, I think they played Sydney at Barossa Park, I think. And they were pretty good in that, in all honesty. They gave Sydney a little bit of a scare throughout that one. Waterman played great. Harley Reid played really well. So maybe they can return that in gather round this year and maybe knock off Carlton. Who knows? It won't be easy though. Teams that they played twice in 2025, we've got Adelaide, Carlton, Fremantle, GWS, Giants, Melbourne and Richmond. As you'd expect, they're a bottom 3 team last season, so they're not going to get the hardest draw ever. They've managed to get Richmond twice, which is huge for them. Huge for any team this year. They also get Melbourne, who finished the season quite poorly last year, but do we expect to see Melbourne improve this year? Probably. Adelaide missed finals last year. There's a lot of talk that they're going to improve as well, so it's not an easy draw. Carlton obviously made finals last year. Fremantle just missed finals, but are expected to rise, and GWS finished top 4. So certainly not the hardest draw that you're ever going to see, but there is no easy draws anymore. In all honesty, from like 14th or 15th up on the ladder, they're all quite difficult matches. So yeah, make of it what you will, but it's not going to be the easiest schedule. Nobody will. Yeah. Anyway, moving on from that one. What do we expect to see in 2025 from the Eagles? For their sake, I hope it's more than 5 wins. Anything below, even 5 or below, is disappointing, but definitely below 5 would be hugely disappointing. We want to see some improvement again from someone like Harley Reid, take that next step, get some really good games into some of these young players that are showing quite a lot of potential, like Reid and Ginbey are the 2 big ones. Bo Allen hopefully will come in and at least get some games and confidence under his belt. It's not going to be an easy season, in all honesty. It's hard to see them getting out of the bottom 3. And at the moment, I can't see them beating North Melbourne, in all honesty. So they could well be 17th on the ladder come the end of the year. A lot of things can happen between now and then. Like nobody saw Hawthorn just bouncing last year out of nowhere. But from what I see on this list, it's hard to suggest that sort of thing is going to happen for the Eagles. So yeah, I think they finished 17th at the moment, is my prediction. Yeah, jump in the comments. Let me know where you think the Eagles are going to finish this year. Yeah, I've got them 17th, but we'll see what happens. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Let's keep this train rolling. One more team to go tomorrow. It's the Western Bulldogs. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch you on the next one.